How's it going, guys? Sodara here. Some friends call me Ra for short, and I modify TMCs. Whenever someone mentions Tippmann, several things come to mind, such as cheap, reliable. In this simple blowback operated marker, they're not exactly known for their consistent velocity. Factors that contribute to that are paint, barrel, and air supply. I'm going to show you how to make your TMC chrono more consistently. Modification involves polishing the internals. I'll be using some valve lapping compound. I'll be chronoing this straight out of the box prior to polishing the internals. That way we will see our before and after results. Got our manual. For this test, I will not be adjusting the velocity. Alright, let's get this guy put together. You don't need the handguard for this test. Here's our barrel. And our detent plate, because mag-fed is life. What you would typically see at the field. This is a valve spar by GI Sports. My spare mags. Chronoing straight out of the box. Let's turn our chrono on. Air up our marker. Well, I have to figure out a way to secure the chrono. Chrono picked up a total of 60 shots with an average of 191. Standard deviation is 16. I'm going to put 4 more mags through it. This time I have the chrono taped down, so hopefully it doesn't move out of place this time. Back at it again with the tan mags. Ooh, yum. Cool. Again, I have not adjusted the velocity. Shots all over in the 190s, 180s, some in the 200s. It's consistent enough for most players, but if you want to be accurate, you gotta have the consistency. Do some work. Again, here's what I'll be using. It's a Loctite brand clover. This is sold in a 2-pack. You got a coarse and a fine. I like cutting these up in those squares. That way you get more use out of one sheet of towel. Start with a coarse. You can really feel and hear the compound working against the alloy. I'm only moving it in a forward and backward direction, and it works pretty fast using the coarse. You can already feel it becoming smoother. Make sure you get right up to these edges. You can feel all that grittiness going away. You really feel the difference. And at this point, it's not getting any smoother. That's when you can transition to the fine compound, because the fibers hold on to the material that's removed from the surface, as well as the compound. You hear that difference? Reducing friction. You're just polishing the surface. You don't want to change the dimension. Finally, just want to bunch it up a bit. Now we're going to target this area where the peg, the square peg, rides in it, and just work at it. Oh, you can really feel the roughness, and I'm sure you can hear it as well. And that's it. Now I'm going to use the fine just to top it off. At this point, it's pretty good. It's ready to go, but if you want to go the extra mile, this will do it. Now these upper channels, or the charging handle and connecting rod link, there's enough clearance there that, to me, I don't think it makes much of a difference whether you polish that area or not. After enough cycles, it'll smooth itself out. So that feels pretty smooth. So now I'll just reuse this and wipe off all the compound. And just like that, this side is done. Look at the difference. Got a glossy shine. Now this, I'm going to just run my fingers across. That's like a night and day difference. Oh, this almost feels like sidewalk or pavement. Alright, let's do the other side. Now that rear bolt or striker assembly, it travels into the section of the tube here, so this reminds me of my high school days. Giggity. Get all the walls, the sides, the top and the bottoms. You definitely want to thoroughly wash all this abrasive compound off. Some hot water and some dish soap will do it. You definitely don't want any residual compound working against your internals. Well, that's it. Let's get this cleaned up and put back together and straight back to the chrono. I'm going to reapply the factory lube. Alright, you guys timing me? Yeah, good enough. Let's get this back on the chrono. Let's do this again with 4 mags. Let's see if there's any change in velocity and deviation. Before it was kind of all over the place. We would see 180s, 190s. Occasionally it'll drop to the 170 and occasionally it'll hit 200. So hopefully it'll be more stable than before. Awesome. A bunch of them are in the 180s, occasional 190s. A bunch of shots here that were like duplicate 182.1s, 180s. This little dip to 169. There's a high 179. There's a little 194 there. There's 200. So a bunch of 180s. Doesn't fluctuate the way it did before. So it's definitely more stable. Majority of the shots are in the 180s. It'll occasionally reach into the 190s. Whereas before we would see a bunch of 170s, 180s, 190s, and 200s. You could try one of these. This is a evil detonator regulator. I believe these things are adjustable from 100 to 500 pounds. 1/8 NPT fittings, the quick disconnect ones, like that. Any Teflon tape will work. I just happen to have this laying around. This is already maxed out. Let's air this up and see where it chronos or what the PSI is at. Alright, that's how it works. So this sleeve controls how far up and down that travels. Alright, so that's the max. At the max setting, not even 500, so it's more like 425. Replacing the quick disconnect ASA with the regulator. Again, if you have a nicer regulator with more adjustability, your results will vary. Well, it does cycle. Let's try some rounds through it. Turn up that velocity. I'm just going to bring it out till it's flush with the plastic of the power tube, not with the receiver. Let's see how it chronos this time. I'm going to turn it off just so it resets data. Alright. Oh, look at that. 261. 237. A lot of 250s and occasional 260s.